Hey everyone, this is AlphaDelta, a video series where I have conversations with people who are operating at a higher level than most, with the hopes to inspire and motivate people to become the best version of themselves. So today I'm joined by a good friend, Ken Kirumba. I've known Ken since, primary school, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, like we've known each other for a very long time. But it's definitely a great person to know, a good person to have on the series. But I'm going to allow him to introduce himself to the audience. So you can you just introduce yourself, say who you are, where you're from, what you do, and where you go to school.
Cool. My name is Ken Kirumba, as Joe said. What do I do, or who am I? I'm a young man from Nairobi.
Young man from Nairobi, yeah.
From Nairobi,
the Nairobi streets.
Young man from Nairobi, pretty much born and raised in Nairobi, schooled in Nairobi. I was in consultation school for my nursery and primary years.
Interesting.
Then I did Alliance High School for my high school years, and then I had a short stint at University of Nairobi for uni.
I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, it was a
Short
stint
Yeah.
at University of Nairobi, and then transferred to Strathmore, where I graduated about 2 years ago. I finished school maybe 3 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's pretty much me.
Cool, and what do you do?
Oh, what do I do? I work in e-commerce. So I work for Jumia as the head of business performance. Yeah, for Kenya. Been there 7 months now. Before that, I was in consulting, which was also pretty cool. I was there for 1 year, 9 months at BCG.
At BCG.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So first question I have for you is like, what are you passionate about in life?
I think I'm passionate about a few things. One of the big passions that I discovered during uni actually was exactly what I did for my uni. So 2 things. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do when I grew up, and I kind of I'm not sure what I want to do when I
It's
grew
still
up.
growing, right?
Still growing.
Yeah.
But in high school, when I was having this huge challenge of what to do in uni, I think it was my last holiday before going back to see my KCSE. And so business news comes up, and the forex news comes up. So it's the dollar is trading at a buy of this much and sell this much, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting with my dad and I asked him like, okay, so dad, what exactly determines this price is, and when they go up and when they go down on a daily basis, blah blah blah. And we went on to have a 45-50 minute conversation just about what determines forex.
Interesting.
And then at the end of that thing, I was like, okay, so if you want to go and study this stuff in school, what do you study? And he told me economics. You study economics, and at that time, the sort of bigger, more prestigious degrees were being thrown in my face. The engineering, the doctors, be a lawyer, that kind of stuff. And I really had no passion for it whatsoever. And then economics came and changed my life. Just understanding how nations work. And then really trying to make an impact, because a lot of economic theory has been towards the developed nations. And most of the models don't work in the developing world. Yeah. So I think my passion is to try and change, however small, I can change the economic situation of Kenyan people in whatever capacity. And I guess I'm still learning what ways I can plug in. But yeah, that's one big thing I'm passionate about. I'm also passionate about, like on a personal level, I think life is not about happiness per se, but more about meaning.
Interesting.
And just having conversations with people about what do you find meaning in as you go through life, because that's really where it's at.
That's what life's about.
Yeah, and that's really what I think life's about.
That's interesting, but like, okay, at the same time, don't you think it's possible to find happiness in the meaning?
True, but is it the end? Is happiness a means or an end or a goal to aspire to? I don't think so. Reason being is number one, happiness is an emotion.
Right.
And you know there's things you will be happy about as you go through life. There's things that you'll be sad about as you go through life.
Right.
And that's just the nature of life. But if you have meaning behind it, then it doesn't matter whether you're happy or sad, but you will find contentment.
It's interesting. You definitely spoke about like happiness in an emotional perspective, but I haven't heard you talk about the state, right? The state of being happy, right? Because you could exist through life, and let's say in a span of a year's time, right? You look at your journey, reflect on what's been my mood for this whole entire year, right? Yeah. You can basically understand that I've been happy for this year. So that means I've been in a state of happiness for a whole year. True,
that is true, and I mean you can pick out the sort of moments where you're happy. It's like, you know, I am happy because this and this and this happened, and I achieved this and this and this. Right. But the reality of life is you don't always achieve what you want to achieve. You don't always get to where you think you need to go in a certain amount of time. You experience things that are outside your control. So you know, hurdles in life, whether it's grieving from loss or like rejection from jobs and stuff like that. You could go through a very sad year.
That's true.
And it could be because of things that are not connected to anything that you've done, but maybe more external forces. But I think if you continue to find meaning, then you might not necessarily be happy. Which after a bad year you shouldn't strive to be. But are you content that given all these different things that happen to me, do I still find meaning in waking up tomorrow and getting up and going to work or seeing my friends or whatever? That's the kind of question. So there's a state of being happy, but I think it's still more of an emotion than it is a state.
Interesting. Cool. Alright, so switching gears a bit, taking a step back, what was your childhood like? What was high school like for you? What were some things you spent your time doing? Just give us an idea of what growing up was like for you.
I think in 2 words it would be it was tough because my dad is a very it's quite the figure.
100%.
But I think it's tough, but also it's very loving. It was a very loving childhood, and I realize that more now than I probably did when I was getting later or stuff like that. So I think both my parents have been a huge a huge influence on basically what I've done in my life and what I've wanted to do and just shaping how I am as a person. We lived in and then also like seeing my parents grow through different phases as we grew up with them pretty much was great. So it was great, but of course it had its also difficult times. So I was born in Kiambu, or born in Nairobi, but lived in Kiambu for a bit. Moved to Westlands, and then moved back to Kiambu, and then moved back to Nairobi. But like during that time, my pops was an entrepreneur. And so basically in the household, depending on how the business is going, then the household also sort of
reflected.
Exactly. So if biashara is good, whatever,
things are good.
You're taking
kitchen is fully stocked.
Exactly. Kitchen is fully stocked. You're going to places every year or every holiday, and it's great. And then 2 years of tough business comes along, and you're like, hey, I'm eating them too many times in a week.
Consecutively.
And it's like, and you know, it's sort of gave me a perspective of life, of, you know, the ups and downs, and there will always be those ups and downs.
For sure.
In terms of my like school life was really nice. I think also that gave me a good foundation to like set me up for high school and other stages.
Right.
So yeah, school life was good, made good friends, did well in school as well, so that was really good. Went to Alliance after class 8, and Alliance was a different time. It was.
That's like it's one of like the top.
It is that top.
It is. Yeah. Sorry, my bad. It is. Yeah, it is the top, right? Top. What boys' high school?
Yeah. I think we've over what is 96 years or so. I think it's proven itself to be the top school in Kenya. But I think the challenges were not just academic. So number one, there's an academic challenge where you come in and people are brilliant.
Super sharp.
Yeah, it's crazy how brilliant they are. And you know, you go from being number one in class in primary to number 50 in the stream. And you're being told, yeah, that's really good. That's a really good job, number 50. And you're like, okay, I guess.
You're looking around.
Oh, like 50 doesn't sound great to me.
Is it from the back?
Yeah, well, from the front. Hey, I was never in the bottom at least. I was even like number 17 in Form 2, like stream-wise. I was I think number 2 in my class. It was a crazy time. Like you actually feel like, and top 10 used to be called up by the principal.
Oh really?
Yeah, so that's how crazy it was.
Very hyper-competitive.
Yeah, extremely. So there was that academic angle, and then there was, you know, just life in Alliance. And you know, going from being a Form 1, where you're doing a lot of manual labor, you know, trying to find your footing, what types of sports you play, whether you do music, drama, whatever. You know, getting comfortable with talking to girls during functions and stuff like that.
Course,
so that whole social thing was quite something else. And then you move up into leadership positions, and you know, in Alliance, the leadership positions were like you had to almost fight for them. Like it was you have to put yourself out there so that people can see you, teachers can see you, blah blah blah, and move up into leadership positions. And then you get into leadership, and you know, all these bad things you used to say about leadership. Now when you're in the system, you're like, well, okay, I sort of understand. Even if I don't agree with a few things that I did, or you know, a few methods that were used, especially then because of prefect power, and you know, basically giving them a carte blanche to do whatever they want. But you know, you realize that changing a system is really tough, and leading is also very tough. But it's a job that has to be done at some point. Yeah, so that was pretty much my childhood.
I'm sure that gave you a really good perspective on politics in general, just how complicated it can get.
Yes, so I mean the politics was crazy because from 1 to Form 2 you're looking at like bottom leadership, kind of, you know, being in the big committees in school. You know, where you work in the morning, are you working in the dining hall, are you still working in the dorm? What kind of sports you play, you know, like if your season was in a certain time, then you wouldn't do morning work. So like I used to swim, so this was like first time I would do morning work because I'm training for swimming. So you know, just and knowing how to play your way through, you know, swimming and working in the dining hall because in South we get the best food out there, you know, and just knowing how to carve your way through different situations. And then now, you know, different stakeholders, and you're looking for leadership from other students, you know, promising them what they want, and then having to be good at academics, having to be good with teachers, having to be good with the leadership before you, so that you know you're not too abrasive to them. Yeah, it was quite crazy. And I mean, it mirrors a lot of the politics that we see.
For sure.
Kenya,
no, leadership is it's a quite an interesting role to take. I know someone really described me this very, very well. Is that when you're in a position of leadership, like whatever it is, manager, prefect, any sort of leadership position, right? You're essentially like a goldfish in a glass fishbowl, right? Where you're this individual existing in this space, but everybody's watching you. all the time.
Yeah.
And I just found that so interesting. I completely couldn't relate. Based on from my own experience, it's like, you know, if you're a leader somewhere and like you do something that's out, you know, out of the ordinary, and like, what did you hear so he's a prefect, or like he was manager of X, Y, and Z, and he did that. It's like everyone always has an argument, so just that pressure. That pressure always keeps you on your toes.
And opinions will always be like, you know, you can't make a decision that satisfies everyone. Even I think even in my leadership journey, that's one thing I've realized. You know, either they'll ask for more, or they'll be annoyed with the decision, or you know, so
just never be satisfied. That's just how do you manage all those perspectives and emotions. Cool. So walk us through how you got to where you are today. You know, tell us a bit about what are some of the things you've done, and generally what your career path has been.
Okay, so this is post high school. Well, I think high school did a few things. That's when I actually knew what I wanted to do in life. One is in school, because what I've come out to be is very different from what I started in school. Although I'd like to get back into that path somehow. But so high school was really about the academic angle, you know, getting grades in math, sciences, geography, whatever. Sorry. And then there was a social aspect where, you know, a lot of community work, a lot of leadership stuff. So you basically then start aiming for being more than just an ordinary guy, which was huge and influenced me going forward. Then there was more just seeing the world. So I think one of the things that my parents have prioritized in my life is, you know, maybe not the big cars, maybe not the flashy lifestyle, but they really wanted us to see the world. So, you know, between then and now, I've been to 3 or 4 continents, seen maybe 14, 15 countries, which has been really good, and just exposed me to a lot of what you know, either we strive to be or what we don't want to be. And then how I can plug in there. So then school, of course, did financial economics at Strath. Academics were good. And then leadership. So I failed at being in the street council, I think. I went for election. And I failed miserably.
As being like a president of the council? Or
I wasn't going for president, I was going for finance. The finance guy. Just the finance guy. So I was going for the finance role. And I failed miserably. I was third out of third in the election. But the good thing is at least it wasn't like third with 2 votes. At least like we were close in terms of votes. But that doesn't change the fact that I was
a loss. A loss is a loss.
Exactly. And so moments like those of loss and not getting to where you want to be were really huge lessons. That you fail, but at one point, you know, you get something, and that's all you need. That's all you need. That's what you want. So going into my career, I heard about consulting, and basically because I was not sure exactly what my degree meant for me going forward. You know, I could have joined PEs, but you know, PEs want more tenured people, you know, 2 years and above, you know, masters, blah blah blah. I could have joined
for the audience, PEs.
Private sector, yes, and VC venture capitalist firms. You know, I could have joined a bank, but the bank, you know, wasn't exactly what I was looking for at the time either. So I heard about consulting, and like in my second year, I think a friend of mine told me that, you know, the big consulting firms are BCG, McKinsey, and Dalberg here at least. Main, not so much. And I then set my sights on that. And BCG actually wasn't here yet, but I was told, it's coming. So in my 4th year, one of my good friends was a year ahead of me, who we thought was going to McKinsey all that time. During BCG, so I think and you know, I had this conversation with him, and he's like, no, BCG as a firm, at least here showed better prospects of him and whatever I wanted to do. And so basically, I still wanted to be consultant.
Yeah.
And I said, it's these 3 companies and I need to get into them.
Yeah.
So in my 4th year, I applied to McKinsey, I applied to BCG, I applied to Harvard. And again, this is a failure thing that is a big thing. So McKinsey writes back to me and offers me a lower position. And I say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to continue my applications. So I park it. And then Dalberg, I made a mistake in the application. So basically, you're supposed to have an essay on what you think we need to tell African leaders to change the world.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Interesting. They make you do that for the application?
For the application. And I forgot. No, I didn't forget to do it. I forgot to attach it on my application.
Cool.
And Dalberg even came to school. I spoke to the HR person. And they're like, no, you can attach it. Blah blah blah. And once I sent the email, it was received. I just never heard back from Dalberg. In fact, till today, I'm waiting for like my rejection. I still haven't heard back. But then BCG basically was then what went through relatively smoothly.
Right.
And it did have its challenges, but I mean, went through BCG. But before joining BCG, I did an internship at Standard Chartered with a global banking division. I mean, the banking sector at that point, well, not the sector, but the role, an intern in a bank is a very junior person because you don't have, key responsibilities tied to you. Then you're pretty much like, what is it? A KYM, basically. You just send for things. Because you really can't hold the responsibility, especially if you're not at the state.
That's true.
And with all compliance issues with banks and all those things, they can't give you those responsibilities. So it was very chill, and then I went to BCG at the onset of COVID. So then that was also another tough bit. I mean, learning to work from home, never work from home, you're in a new demanding job. And you have to make a way. And you start with a few rough patches, and then a few successes, and then a few more rough patches, and then a few successes. Got promoted after doing I think 3 projects a year. Got promoted to associate, and then I spent 7 months as an associate. My last project I did as a cross-office staffing for the Middle East, which was really cool. Although that also had its rough patches. Before deciding, I want to focus more on, more Africa-based stuff and more profitable stuff. Because, to be very honest, I mean, the consulting industry in Kenya is a lot of social impact. So it's a lot of UN living stuff. And I just don't think that's what my passion lies. Humanitarian work is great. But I don't think that's what my passion lies, and I don't think that's what will get Africa out of the situations where it's going to be industry, it's going to be innovation, it's going to be private sector led, and the more we focus on social impact, I don't think that's the solution. Of course, it's a stop measure in the realities that we face today. But if you're thinking 30 years from now and you're still thinking social impact, that's not what we should be doing. So I got approached by a few firms actually, but I settled on Jumia mainly because what it's teaching me now is how to grow a company. And hopefully with the lessons that I learned from here, then I'll be able either to apply those in my next job or something else if I decide to start my own thing. So that's been my career path pretty much up till now.
Very interesting. Very, very cool. I like how you definitely tied in how failure has been so pivotal to just your journey. Right? Where you failed a bunch of times, but you still kept on moving, you still progressed, and you're still able to achieve the things that you have despite of failure. I think that's really cool. So my next question similarly is actually what has been a pivotal moment in your life that has shaped your career? And then the follow-up is, what has been the greatest achievement in your career so far?
So I am still very young. I don't think I'm achieving.
But I'm sure, naturally, I mean, I'm the same too, but there's some things you can reflect on and you're like, that was
cool.
Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool.
Okay, cool. So, pivotal moment that changed my career. I don't think it was changed my career generally. It was more gave me an approach towards facing life. So, and I'm sure you know this in Kenya, for you to be considered a success, it's more, people will look up to you if you're in the quote unquote sort of big jobs. And by big jobs, I mean, a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, blah, 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 blah. And so I felt a lot of pressure to do those things because, I was doing well in school, I was doing well in these subjects, but I had no passion whatsoever for it. And I remember one of the big things that my dad once told me about careers was, number one, and I think this is the most important thing, is whoever you are and whatever you do, if you focus on being the best at that, then the world will always have space for you. It doesn't matter what you do, but if you focus on being the best at what you do, then the world will always have space for you. It doesn't matter whether you're a driver, it doesn't matter whether you're
I think your dad told me the similar thing actually.
That
has a lot of interesting insights for sure. He actually, remember now that I think about it, we were having a very, very similar conversation. He was explaining to me, if you're going to be a driver, be the president's driver.
Exactly.
If you're going to be a cleaner, clean for the CEO of X, Y, and Z. So be the best at anything that you do.
Exactly. And the world will always have space for you. And among cleaners, you will be rated top. Amongst
this guy's go to.
This is the guy.
Highly recommended.
Exactly. Amongst, and I think that, and those guys will never be wrong.
True.
If you're the best cleaner, you probably have a cleaning company that does stuff, and you will never go hungry. If you're the best driver, you'll either be Hamilton or driving one of the big guys, and you will never go a day hungry.
The beauty about even with that, right? Especially nowadays, when we have media, technology, right? We have platforms like this, right? You could be the best cleaner, you start a YouTube channel about cleaning, right? And you could become the most popular cleaner in the whole entire world, where people literally fly you out from their palaces just to come and do the cleaning, all because you built a brand on YouTube and you're reputable and you do good work.
It's crazy, it's just crazy how much opportunity we have there. So I think that was the big one. I'll tell you for a fact, on Instagram, many of these videos of guys, these satisfying videos of guys cleaning windows, and they get so much business from it.
It's very true.
It's crazy. There's a guy who moves lawns for free. Just goes, looks at a bad loan, and knocks at the door, and he's like, "Hey, can I just move your loan for free? I have a YouTube channel, I just want to show you guys." Exactly.
And he probably gets paid he gets actually contracted, hired on the side or something for much larger projects.
Exactly. So, and another big addiction I have right now is people who farriers. I don't know exactly what that means, but the guys who tend to host. So, especially when they're trimming the horses' hooves, that stuff has such a huge audience. Of just guys trimming horses' hooves. And it's crazy, how
I've seen. I saw once a video of a very there was a horse in a very poor state, had long mane. The hooves it wasn't even a puppy. It was literally came out and for a long time I didn't realize that stuff actually grows. I didn't know it grows.
Exactly.
You don't trim it.
Fingers, exactly.
They're like fingernails, right? It's so interesting. And then just looking at just how in a poor state the horse was, and then having to go through this after the transformation, just the complete switch. They just become a whole different horse.
Exactly.
But
a lot of interesting stuff there. So I think that was the biggest lesson I learned. That just drove me not to care about exactly what I'm doing, but am I trying to be the best at it? And I know that if I try and be the best at it, then the world will have space for it. So that's the biggest lesson. Then biggest career achievement. I think getting into consulting, especially for a huge firm like that at such an early stage, from a Kenyan university, was pretty big. Yeah. And not just getting in, but also thriving in that environment, in a high-paced, very intense, very intense sort of environment where everyone is a self-starter, everyone is brilliant.
Everyone's type A,
exactly. And you still need to, perform.
You have to perform.
And you perform. I think that was pretty cool for me. I do not envy those intense days, to be very honest. Don't want to go back, but they teach you a lot of grit and a lot of just getting the job done. You need to get the job done and make the client happy. And so that's been a huge I think probably the biggest. Hopefully in the next few years a few big achievements to discuss.
Of course. Naturally, of course. No, that's very interesting. So my next question is, what is the biggest challenge you ever had in your life, and how did you overcome it?
That's a hard one, because I don't think there's been this like one huge thing that has challenged me. It's more many small things happening at one time. But I think your childhood really helps you deal with a lot of the challenges that you go through, and especially even now, like looking at the things that basically sort of trouble the young people, opinions of others, their looks, characteristics generally. For me, I think was a big challenge when I was really small. So I was a fat kid. I am still dark, but I was dark, very dark. I was, not the fastest, not the, and so these things, I think, in as much as it was playful, you get teased or whatever, and it's not that great to hear those things being said to you. But I also understand, like, it's the nature of childhood, you just say things as they are, and also adulthood. We need to realize that we can't say things as they are, as long as we're not, generally just trying to say it to cause offense. But so I think that sort of did a number on my confidence at some point in childhood. But there were a few things that I did to get that confidence up. So number one is, just knowing it's never that serious. Like if someone calls you Blackie, brother, I'm Blackie, that's cool.
Just make a joke
and you're brown, and that's cool.
Yeah, this is actually good advice for anyone who gets really affected by people's opinions and if you've been bullied, if you've been teased, or if you're currently being bullied or being teased, right? Like, the biggest way you can take away power from someone who's bullying you is by laughing at whatever they're trying to bully you about. So in this case, if someone called him black, you laugh. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not really black. Can you see I'm dark? Okay. You joke around. They'll just be like, it's like, what the hell is what? Yeah, exactly. Because that's what they want from you. They want to take power. They want to take away your power. Like, they want to make you feel bad. That's empowering, which and that's like a whole other case, because clearly that person has a lot of insecurity behind them.
And I mean, it also goes to, by your parents and your friends and the people you grew up with, helping you to become more confident in the world. And I think that sort of, worked on the better part for me. I was involved in a lot of church activities, so meeting other kids from different diverse backgrounds also helped, because basically it means you can talk to anyone from anywhere and have a conversation and connect. I also did a lot of drama when I was young in church.
That's actually really good for your confidence.
Exactly.
Really
helps you speak, helps you
public speaking and everything.
Exactly. So that was big. I actually did a drive out. My first check was in class plus 2, 23K.
Is that publicly available? Like,
It's not. I've been trying to look for it. It was before YouTube. So this was 204 when YouTube was being out, but I didn't add much for Ketaba. Yeah. And I was
Ketaba is a pretty popular tea brand here in Kenya.
Yeah, so I was like the kid who, goes to school, comes, plays bundles, and comes back to
this is a video.
Yeah, it was a video like that, yeah. Comes back running in the rain, and then comes and sips some Ketaba and everything.
Wow.
Just crazy. Yeah, so it was.
We need to find that video, man.
I need to go back to the production house I did that thing and just be like, please give this to me.
Literally, that's something that that's stuff you can show your grandkids.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was famous.
Literally,
when I was 8. So such things actually really build my confidence. So, and then again now, the whole environment is, having people who are in your corner.
Right.
I remember, and as you grow older and having to, you feel this urge to be like, the cooler guys and blah blah blah. I remember my dad saying, by the way, like, and I guess this was at the almost perfect time. And my mom even also really start this message like, you don't need to be anyone but yourself. Like people are on their own journeys, they'll do their stuff. You don't need to go out of your way to feel cool, to fit in. And it's okay. You will fit in some spaces, you will not fit in some spaces, and that's fine. And so such things getting into my mind that just made me navigate life much easier.
Yeah, no, I really resonate with that. I think for me, my high school experience was very, very unique. Like, I was very, very involved, like extracurriculars, captain of different sports teams. I was in leadership roles. Also performing very highly academically, always getting rewards. So because of all the things I was doing, I naturally alienated myself from most people.
Exactly.
So already I always knew that I'm not like other people. I'm very, very different in that perspective. So for me, navigating social situations and wanting to be cool, I never felt that because I understood primarily that I'm just not like that,
And you're different, and it's fine.
It's perfectly fine. I think that's really good advice. For sure. Very, very good advice. Speaking of advice, what advice would you give someone who's trying to do the same things as you?
Stay in school, number one.
Stay in school, very important.
Don't do drugs, stay in school.
The stuff our parents tell us all the time.
And I think it's just trying to exert yourself in whatever season you are in. You could try to be a musician in high school, and that's perfectly fine. But if you do not try and exert yourself in your studies as well, you could be missing another whole bunch of opportunities.
That's true.
And so basically, in whatever season you are in life, exert yourself in the 2-3 most important things, and it'll change your life. So I think that's number one. So stay in school, get that degree. Unless, the stories of the Bill Gates and the dropouts, the reason they're such big stories is because they're normal. It's not normal. The reason why, an A student from Kenya who's living on the street will come on TV is because it's abnormal for an A student to be on the streets. So statistically, the best thing you can do for yourself is stay in school, finish it, and at least it'll give you a foundation to do whatever else you want.
You can literally look up the statistics. In the US, for example, most middle class to millionaire status levels are highly educated.
Exactly.
Finished university, maybe got their masters. Right.
Exactly.
It's very clear. It's very, very clear that getting an education is very, very important.
It's huge.
It's very huge.
And it's the biggest equalizer on earth.
It is. Because it's not even just obviously the academic content you're learning, but even just the social interactions you have with people. These are people who depending on what kind of spaces you're in, these are people who will help you out in your career.
Exactly.
Will help you grow different things, and just help you achieve your goals. So like just that whole setting, like it's so important.
Yeah, extremely important.
Yeah.
And of course, there'll be the trio who's in high school and making a lot of money from his music.
Yeah.
Which is great, but he is an exception. He is an
exception. Yeah, lies for sure.
And I mean, if you think you're an outlier, then by all means, go for it.
Go for it. But even then, I'd still say like still finish school.
Yeah,
still finish school
good.
because like you know like still get the degree.
Yeah.
And then if you don't need it, like you know you can put it in your cabinet and just forget about it. But the fact that you have it and it's done, and then even just like just what it does to your psyche as well, right? Because you're working at something for 4 years,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And then like you done, you finish, and that's an accomplishment, right? And then now this perspective you're able to carry it with you into anything that you're engaging in, right? That you realize that you know in order to achieve certain things, and you put in some amount of hours of work in order to achieve a certain desire.
Exactly.
So
and so even in your music, you will put more sort of effort into it because you know that the effort equals success and outcome. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And I definitely think also like there's definitely a correlation between like people who finish school, get educated, and then how successful they are at whatever they're doing. Yeah. Because you're essentially you're racking these wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You're literally stacking. Like you finished high school, that's a win. Finished university, that's a win. Got your first job, that's a win. Got your first promotion. So you're literally just like stacking up all these different wins, and over a period of time, it just compounds.
Exactly.
So that's why you have people's growth where like it seems like it's very stagnant, very steady, and then just exponentially
grows. Yeah. There's something about that this curve that
the J curve.
It's a J curve, and then there's this valley of what do they call it? Valley of where basically you're learning.
Oh yes.
But then the results
they're not correlated.
Yeah, they're not correlated.
Yeah, like the amount of effort that you're putting doesn't produce the right results.
Exactly. And then at some point, all this effort just compounds and just poops. Yeah, exactly. So that's the biggest thing I'd say. Stay in school. But secondly is I think I'd be telling you advice. Whatever you want to do, try and be the best at it.
Be the best at it.
That's what you need. And it could be going into finance, or it could be going to music, or whatever it is. Right. Just make sure that you're in the top 5% of whatever you do.
Right.
And the world will have space for you, and you will be successful.
Yeah. Very good advice. Very, very
Thank
good
you.
advice. Stay in school. Be the best at what you do.
Yeah.
And the world will have space for you.
Yeah.
So my next question is, where are you heading to? What are you hoping to accomplish in the next couple of years?
That's tough. I don't know. Because I still see myself as this young guy trying to figure life out, to be very honest. And I see various like I'm at a fork at a road and I have like 5 different places I can venture into. And depending on whatever those 5 spaces are, then those will have different outcomes. But broadly speaking, I think there are 3 of them. One is getting more educated, and especially abroad. So probably doing my master's in the next 2 or so years would be a good next step to get my networks right, get my education at the right level to be able to come back and make the impact that I desire. Right? I mean, we normally speak about networking and stuff like that, but the truth is when you're young, yes, you network and you meet guys, but these people for a certain amount of time, especially older people, will see you as just a young guy who's trying to and so you have to build some credibility before now you can come to the table as an equal and say, okay, this is what I want to do. I have researched it, I have done a thesis on it or whatever, and this I think is the future. Let's go here. Give me $1 million shillings. 20 million shillings.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah. I don't think I can raise 20 million shillings right now, to be honest. So that then becomes the I think one of the ways which you can level up in that aspect of things. 2 is maybe going on with the career path, and maybe after I think I have learned enough in my current role and I've made an impact, then I can switch to something else. Maybe, I think just learning the investment environment in Kenya and Africa generally would be another big step for me that I'd like to do. And I can do that through school or through just experience.
Right.
The other thing is just being like, screw it, let me just do my thing and let me start my new thing, and just go with it, which is scary. I told you, being a son of an entrepreneur, I could see the seasons, exactly. And I probably wasn't, I probably didn't understand it, but I knew there was a correlation between the work that Dad is doing and how we're doing at home. So one of my biggest fears is being in that space where, I'm like, God damn, it's good for the next year. And it's just not for me, especially as I grow older, then it's either for me, my wife, and my 2 kids, and we're just chilling and being like, okay. And after this 3 days of Kidari, I'm not sure if you have anything on the 4th day.
Might be Kidari again.
Exactly.
You never know.
Exactly. Or not being able to take my kids out to, pizza because they just want pizza. I'd like to say no because of principle, not because I don't have the money, and so that makes me really, really scared about taking the entrepreneurship journey. The other maybe one, I think there's another one where, after all these things and after I make all this impact, I actually sort of try and enter politics in governance. Maybe not politics, but governance of the country. Right. Because I think no matter what we do as private sector and whatever, you need to give the enabling environment for guys to do their work, number one. And 2, you need to align all stakeholders to a common goal. And I don't think our governments have done that in the past 50 years. And I think they need a team of maybe young people to help them in just doing exactly that.
I mean, hopefully with this new government, there'll be that transition towards that new perspective on things. So.
I hope that's what happens. Early signs are that doing what needs to be done. We knew that before things get much better, they'll have to get in terms of prices and stuff like that. I just hope that they deliver on what they say they promise, because their promises, in my opinion, make sense. They focus on the right things. But we have known other governments that need to do exactly that. So hopefully we have a more focused government that actually wants to better our economy. And the last thing is maybe, just chill at 40, get
retire somewhere on your farm.
But so what I love is to be a pilot or a small plane.
Interesting. Like your own charter plane.
Yeah, or fly for one of these NGOs that pretty much help in different parts of the country. And basically, get into Wilson at 7 a.m. Fly to wherever, dropping stuff and picking up people, and I'm back by 6 p.m. and I'm back with my family at 7 p.m. That would be
ideal.
Great. I'm not thinking about profits or whatever. I'm not thinking about.
Made all your money, made all your investments at this point.
I'm just living off my investments and living off my salary. So that's the easiest to get money. And hopefully that happens. Even if it's at 50,
even sooner. Sooner than 50.
But you see, now the thing is, you don't make as much of an impact as you are working. So maybe I'll try to make an impact I'm 40 or 45.
Right.
And then if this thing just refuses, I'm like, you know what? Let me just chat with someone else and help in humanitarian stuff. So maybe that's the other part there. So I don't know what it will be, but I'm really excited to see what it is.
Same here, for sure, man. I'll be one of the first passengers in your home.
For sure. I'll take you around Kenya and bring you back to it.
For sure. Looking forward to it, for sure. So my next question is, do you practice self-improvement? If you do, what do you do?
So self-improvement. I think that's a very broad definition.
Do you want me to break it down?
Please.
So self-improvement is ideally it encompasses, okay, at a basic level, just becoming the best version of yourself, whether it's physically, financially, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Okay.
Right? So self-improvement is essentially like doing key, activities, habits, actions, whatever you want to call it, that improve those areas of your life.
Okay.
Right. That's ideally, and it cuts across. It's not only just those specific areas on a personal level. It can also think about like your career, right? So you can apply something to your career, the way you think about how you navigate your career and how you want to grow. It's just that constant state of just wanting to improve and grow.
Yeah, I think I do to some extent. I also think I don't to on the opposite side.
Right.
So basically, I think in terms of financially, physically, spiritually, I think I practice that. So spiritually, and like I really want to get a better view of the world and why people believe different things, but that led me to a very lonely place, because basically you start questioning everything, and that's great to question. But if you don't have an anchor that holds you down, then it's pointless.
Right.
And especially for questions that you might never get the answers to, and it's great to have hypotheticals and blah 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 about but I think just to keep your level of sanity at a specific level, you just need to believe in something. And so I was raised in church. I was an altar boy, very active.
Oh, you were deep in the church.
I was deep
in it.
And then high school comes and I just veer off in the opposite direction. I'm like, is this God guy again? Whatever, blah blah blah.
Which is natural for like most
it is.
Begin to grow.
It is, and it's good, I think, to question. What I don't believe is going into them, and maybe now I'm starting to come back because I went to the extreme. I was like, fuck church. You're Muslim, that doesn't exist. You're Christian, I don't give a damn. You're whatever. But I think I'm slowly coming back to just being in a sort of routine where at least I feel like I've nourished my spiritual space, and church really helps with that. Like, I know people say, religion versus whatever, and different people do different things, meditation, blah blah blah. But I think for me, church and just dedicating an hour to that, to just think about how my last week has been, how I want to do my next week, just thinking about what are the actions I took, are they fair, are they just, how will I do that next week is a big thing. So church helps that. So hopefully I go to church more often in this country, because I had stopped. Now I go like once in 2 or 3 weeks. I'm trying to get that to like once in a week. So hopefully that's good. Physically, I used to run a lot. So I suffered a personal tragedy. Basically, I was in Dusit the day Dusit happened. And it was like bad.
For anyone who doesn't know, like, give a bit of context as to what Dusit happened.
So basically, Kenya has been facing threats from external parties, and one of those threats were basically happened. When was it? On January 15th, 2019, at a hotel on Riverside. Well, it's not a hotel, it's more of a complex of buildings with a hotel inside. And I was on my internship there, and basically we were caught in the crossfires. I was stuck for 3 or 4 hours inside the buildings, shared the same room with the terrorists for like 40 seconds, without them necessarily getting to us. We lost people at the place I was in. And so that was like my worst day on earth till today. But after that I started running. And I don't know if it was running to get away from my problem.
Right.
Just to
running from your problems.
Yeah, but it really helped. Like it helps me just calm down, cool down, and then I start seeing the physical benefits and things like that. So that was really good.
Yeah. Did you ever go for therapy?
Yes. So there was a lot of the next day.
Yeah.
So we used to live next to Lucid.
Oh, okay.
Like 700 meters, so I didn't even walk to work.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we're just
I remember that.
the
Yeah.
hill, yeah.
You just moved from there.
Yeah, my folks moved and then I moved on to where I am now. Yeah.
Okay,
So even the next day, like I couldn't sleep that day.
Yeah.
It was just after the adrenaline went down
Yeah.
that I slept. And then I woke up to the sound of gunshots. Because you could hear what's happening in Dusit from my place. So it was, I had like 2 hours of sleep that night. But I remember my dad brought in a friend of his who's a therapist. We sat down and basically he just let me let out whatever happened the previous day. And then also the company was extremely supportive. The government actually was also very supportive.
Really?
And they have government programs to after such things just to have therapy with people who are really affected by this. It's crazy. Yeah, I was like, okay, kumbe.
Well done, Kenya. Okay, Kenya. Yeah,
it was
Kenya. Okay,
yeah,
that's awesome.
It was really nice. So, I mean, that helped, but I think running was something I hadn't done before, and then I started, and it was just so great to have that relief from running. Excuse me, and then I ran a lot until halfway through this year. And then new job, blah blah blah, hasn't been too. So I need to get back onto it. But I mean, best maybe achievement of my running so far is I did the Nairobi City Marathon. I did the 21K, and I did it in less than 2 hours. So that would mean I'm a sub 4-hour marathon, which would be really cool. So one day when I do marathons, then I hope to be sub 4. But yeah,
you see yourself going to going for the Boston Marathon.
I mean, my Babs is trying to do the 6 majors. I think he's done 3 of them. I don't think I'm as enthusiastic as he is. I don't think I'll run 6 marathons in my life. Maybe 1 or 2. But I think I'll continue running. But what I'd really like to do is a trial. Yes, I want to get back to swimming. I want to get back to cycling. So yeah, that's the second part. Then financially, I think the big thing is for me is my retirement. I think right now when I have a leverage of extra money, I want to secure my older years. I don't want to get broken. I just don't want to get broken.
Of course.
So pensions, life insurance is really big for me. So I have an educational, what are they called? Educational. It's like insurance, but it's not insurance. But basically, you put in money for 18 years, and the logic is when your kid is going to uni, you will have enough money to pay for it. So but please, kids, try and get scholarships. If you watch, I would like to pocket that money.
Listen to your father, kids. Work hard. So if you're trying to go abroad, go for scholarships. They're available. They're all there.
Exactly.
As someone who's been through the system, you can do it.
Exactly. Yeah, be like Joe.
Yeah.
So that. Those are big ones because I want to live a pretty financially smooth life, and so that means investing a lot now for later. And then there's the odd land here, and just trying to diversify your investments. I'd really like to go into the more risky stuff, so stocks, actively investing in stocks and stuff like that. But I'm still a bit, especially because the market in Kenya is quite. It's not great. I mean, there are only 5 companies.
That's true. So you should look into the US market. I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I have experience in the US market.
It's pretty
very good, very stable. And it's very, very sophisticated too. Here in Kenya you only get you can only buy a share of a company, right? In the US you have things that are called ETFs, which is electronic trading funds, which are essentially, like a good case in point is like the S&P 500,
exactly,
which is a basket of 500 companies.
Yeah. So they're just indexed into like one sort of bundle.
One thing. So you're buying, rather than buying individual stock in each company, you're buying a stock of 500 companies.
Exactly.
Right? So if all those 500 companies don't do well, that means the whole market is not doing well.
Exactly.
Right? You're not at the liberty of whether this company did well this time and didn't do well. You're tracking the markets.
And it diversifies your risk.
Exactly.
Like crazy, because it's across geographies, across industries.
There's emerging markets, there's industry ETFs, like commodity ETFs, like there's just different ETFs that you could purchase.
So I think if I do like the states of this S&P 500, maybe the Dow, and just keep it.
Just keep it there.
Because even
I always tell everyone, like, actually, like anyone's into, and like if you're my coaching client, I'll advise you exactly, but essentially like with stock investing, literally just invest in the S&P 500 index funds, like you will, like, especially if you're trying to build wealth and not trying to like get rich quick, like you will not go wrong. You will not go wrong.
And the stats are just proven, like all these what are they called, hedge funds. I mean, only like 10% of them go past 10, and outperform the market.
The market.
So these guys, and they don't outperform it like 10 years straight. Like they'll have a lucky year, next year they're down.
Then yes, exactly.
It's crazy. So
and the S&P is literally the only S&P 500 is the only stock that has consistently gotten like an 8 to 10% return on a yearly basis for the past 10 years. Consistently every single year.
Exactly. So it's a great investment, and I think I'll venture into those. What else? I think that's pretty much what I practice. But definitely would like to get better at the physical aspect. When I get back to running, I did a 10K last week in 51 minutes, which wasn't bad. So getting back slowly.
Awesome, bro. That's really good to hear. Really good to hear for sure. So what is one area of your life you feel you could improve on?
I think the way I handle relationships with people from different in different aspects. So I'm very opinionated. And so what that tends to do, and I'm very, I think, straightforward when I voice my opinions on something.
Right.
And so what that seems to do is for people who are either timid about their opinions, one, or also on the opposite side and get offended about the things that I have opinions on.
Right.
Then there's a lot of friction and pressure.
Right.
For the most part, I don't care. Like, just to be very honest.
Literally.
For the most part, I don't care.
Right.
But in some relationships that are important, like including romantic relationships, relationships with your friends, maybe relationships with people you're managing or who are managing you.
Right.
You need to sort of always be conscious of the subjectivity that whatever person you're talking about or you're dealing with has.
Right.
So I think that's a big part that I need to work on, and I am working on. But like for the general population, voicing out my opinions, I don't care. For those like key relationships is what I need to sort of work more on. I think.
Interesting. So the next set of questions are going to be a bit more personal.
Okay.
The first question I have.
We haven't been personal.
Well, it's very personal. I mean, look at this on the couch.
This is as personal as it gets.
So the first question I have for you is, what is being a man to you?
I read that in the notes, and I honestly don't have an answer. Okay. And this is why. I think 100 years ago, being a man was extremely, like your roles and a woman's role.
It's clear, defined,
clear cut,
right?
defined,
You're in this box. You're in this box.
Exactly. And even when I hear questions that on other platforms when men are asked to define what being a man is, And then you're like, being responsible, being a person of your word, blah blah blah. Like, I agree with all that.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's unique to men. I think women too should be responsible. Should be, should keep to their word.
Yeah, of course.
So because of this whole bloodlines, I'm not exactly sure what is unique about being a man, being a woman anymore.
But what is that for you specifically?
Yes. So now going into for me, and outside, the global emerging perspectives on different genders and whatever it is, I think some rules of a masculinity are. Number one is, and I see this a lot in work, in families and stuff like that, is the ability to take counsel but make peace. That's a big one. Yeah. And I think it sort of lies more on the man's role, maybe because of our whole social structures and whatever.
Yeah,
but
it's actually not even like a man's role thing, it's actually more of a masculine thing.
Exactly.
Like if you're a person who has a masculine core, then that is in your nature to take counsel, but at the end of the day, you make the decision. Right.
And you make it in a timely manner. It's not like, oh, we'll just chill until
let's just analyze. Let's think about it a bit more. Let's take our time. No, it's like
let's be decisive.
Decide today and move. We'll assess later. But
exactly.
Let's just
Exactly. So that's a big one. Second one, I think to some extent is protection. And this is not just physically, not just when you're going almost to blows with people. It's protecting people from situations that you see coming. Protecting people from emotional damage and stuff like that. Protecting your family, whether it's physically or emotionally, just making sure that they're okay. It's huge. I think the provider role still sort of stands out, although I think it's more hand in hand.
Right.
I mean, the way economies have changed with the liberalization of labor in the 70s, you are not able to feed a household on an average income from one person.
Right.
It's just not possible. So I think, coming up with that conversation as a man and being like, okay, these are the things I can take care of. Can you take care of those things as a woman? And the relationship in the family is also a good conversation to have.
Right.
But I think providing still is something that just intrinsically I want to do. I might not be able to provide everything, but I know in my heart of hearts that if I had all the money in the world, I would do it. And I hope that happens. I really hope that happens. And then I think the biggest role of a man is being a good father. And it's not just to your children, it's to everyone who looks up to you. Just being a good father and being good parents. I think if 90 to 99% of people just generally with kids or with people who looked up to them who are good and show them the right direction, then a lot of this stuff that we see today in the world would just be happening. Because I worked on my internship in Thika, my community-based service for my uni in Thika, and basically I was a nursery school teacher to kids from a nearby slum. So they come every day and blah blah blah, and everything's great. But we also used to do some aloe vera, and so we'd employ some of these poor ladies and men to work on the farm and make soaps and blah blah blah. And one of the things that you realize is, if you can't teach people, you can barely change a person after they're 14 or 15. The way a person is at 14, unless some drastic thing happens and they need to change, most likely will be
still the same.
Yeah, they'll stay the same for the rest of their life. So one of the big things that we used to see is, you guys are actually poor, you're living hand to mouth pretty much every day. But immediately they get their salaries, they go make their hair. Exactly. Like braids and everything is like great hair, amazing hair, And it's like, what are the values that sort of surround this decision?
Right.
And I think it's just not good parenting. Because now your kid now sees this and basically hair.
That's and we sort of normalize that.
Exactly. And so this sort of cycle of poverty continues because they basically are not putting the best resources to the best use. So I think being a good parent, teaching your kids the values, giving them the tools to just deal with life, and if you don't have those tools, recommending someone who does is one of the biggest things you can do. And also just leading by example. I mean, I see so many parents today who don't lead by example, and it's not great. I think if people did that better, and I really hope I do that better because I'm not a father yet. I could be here saying I'll be such a great father.
Yeah, but you just don't know. It's a whole other world.
It's a whole other world. But yeah, I think if people were better parents, then a lot of the hardship that we see around us would
that's so key.
Yeah.
It's so key. Like a lot of I mean, like your ideals, the way you think, the way you approach life, it stems from the way you're raised by your parents.
Exactly.
The environment that you live in. So it's for all parents out there, I mean, like, we appreciate all the work you guys do for us, and we know it's not easy. You guys are probably our first role models and most important role models.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you for that. We know it's not easy, and we still appreciate you regardless. So pretty much coming towards the end of the interview.
Cool.
Do you have any questions for me?
What is being a man to you?
That's a good one. I mean, I feel that a lot of the things you said are very, very similar. Being a provider, right? Being a provider for your loved ones, the people you care about, being a protector. That's very, very important. And I like how you broke it down, not just like physical protection, but you talked about financial protection, emotional, mental, all that stuff. That's very key. I also think caring for people that you get to know, caring for your loved ones. That's very, very important. I would also add that being a man it's a responsibility, right? Like you have a duty over like your life, right? You have to take ownership over it. You have a duty over like your loved ones. You need to take care of them, protecting them, providing for them. I like how you brought about being a role model, right? That's also very, very key. Similarly, being a leader, I also equated to being a leader as well as a man, right? When you're in certain spaces, right, you understand that you are a role model, not only to your peers, but even younger men who are below you, right? They look up to you in terms of the things you do and the things you say, right? But you also need to be willing to do, right? I like how you brought about being the decision maker, being decisive. That's very, very key towards being what a masculine individual is. Generally that's what I think being a man is about. Actually, I forgot a question to ask you. So, based on the things that you spoke about in terms of what being a man is to you, how do you navigate life from that?
That's a complex question. I think it's just trying to stick to those values, right? Like, wherever the situation of being a man applies in your life, then I'll use it. So basically, things like leading in the office, right? Or stuff like that, being able to make decisions or disagree where you disagree. Choosing your battles is a big one. Even in romantic relationships,
you gotta choose your battles.
Like half of the time she wants to eat it and she doesn't know.
Well,
And you
you're
just
gonna be like, alright.
you just need to decide, or planning where to go for vacation.
Right.
And hopefully, I just can't wait to apply that as a man. Like just the manly energy to my kids is what I'm really, is what I'm really looking for.
Right, and then just also teaching them those values.
Exactly.
Passing it over to the next generation.
Yeah. Biggest stroke in generation.
It's raising the next generation.
Yeah.
Interesting. Awesome, man. I mean, thank you so much for this. I really enjoyed this interview.
What episode is this of AlphaDelta?
It's not even. I didn't even say an episode.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna tag the episode.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But when it comes out, I'm gonna let you know.
Okay.
Ahead of time.
Cool.
Where can people find you? Is there anything you want to plug?
Man, I've been actually don't have any that like whatever, what is it called? Side hustles or whatever. I have none.
Yeah.
My Instagram account is private, so maybe maybe not. But remember the name. Hopefully when something comes up, I'll reach out to you and we can
just
publicize it. Yeah.
Honestly, just I'll just drop it in the description. You can read those things and add them.
Yeah, but if you search me on Instagram, you'll find me. I think Ken Kirumba should come up.
Yeah, I'll put your Instagram in the description.
Yeah.
I'll also add your LinkedIn as well.
LinkedIn is a nice place to be. LinkedIn as well, Ken Kirumba. Facebook, Ken Kirumba.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm much less opinionated publicly than I was before.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, definitely on private chats and things like that, I can be very
right. Of course.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Cool. Thank you very much for having me, bro.
Of course, bro. It's such a pleasure.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See you guys.
All right,